and welcome to the Fed by Farmers podcast with me, Cammy Wilson.
And me, Iona Murray.
We're back with another interview this week. It's with John Murray.
Yes.
Yeah, great to have him back on.
Not my dad.
I don't spoil it. You're spoiling it. As I say at the start of this podcast, there was so many folk at the start of the interview. I say this, but there was so many folk clicking it, going, "Oh my God, Iona's dad's back on." But it is, of course, it's John Murray from Thomas Murray Agricultural Engineers. A good friend of mine. I've known him my entire life, and his dad, his late father as well, Tom. When I was a wee boy, and we speak about that in the podcast about how they helped to get me started in my gardening. I used to do a wee gardening business, hedge cutting and trimming and lawnmowers, and they got me started all on that, giving me really good deals and prices on stuff. And yeah, we've just known him ever since. We obviously now do the CF Moto bikes, so we'll talk about that in this podcast. Who are we thanking?
We are thanking Crystalyx and Hairdwatch.
Thanks to Crystalyx and to Hairdwatch for sponsoring the podcast. We had a fantastic interview last week with Crystalyx. Still not over the fantastic information about the Easy Breather. We weaned our calves this week. I put the Easy Breather straight in.
Right.
Just to keep them right. Interestingly though, they're not taking too much of it.
Right.
I think it's probably because they're getting a wee bit of feed.
Okay.
And they'll be getting what they need. I think it's a good sign.
Yeah.
I also can't remember if we maybe bolused them.
Right.
So there might be a wee bit of that too. But I'm taking it as a good thing they're not taking it. I always think when things don't take the Crystalyx,
100%.
it's a great sign.
Yep.
So it's there if they need it.
That's what Dad says about his blocks.
If they don't use it, it's great.
When they get disappearing like that and you feel
it's
like,
a worry.
oh God,
Aye. So no, but the cows are rattling through the pre-calver bucket right enough, but 15th of January we're due. Not long.
God, that's great.
I've ordered some cameras actually. I was hoping they'd be here today.
Yeah.
We'll get some cameras up.
Can I also just say some people, I've had more than one message wanting the different coloured Crystalyx boxes in the background.
Yeah, it's annoying we have all these. We should have a multi-stack. We should also have it behind the guest.
Yeah, we should, because the camera's mainly over there.
Because the camera goes over there and there's all that rubbish. Like I'm looking over there now, you're going to see there's like a couple of spare bike.
Are you going to say it? Are you going to say it?
What am I going to say?
I'm going to get this place sorted.
I'm going to get this place sorted.
Every week.
That should have been the New Year's resolution.
Yes.
Okay, without further ado, we'll get into John Murray.
Let's do it.
Here he is. And we're joined by Mr. John Murray. Now, John, before you speak, there'll be people just listening in audio that aren't watching on YouTube that are going to have clicked on here going, "Oh, I wonder what's been happening at Chris Flat this week." But you're not from Chris Flat.
No, I'm John Murray the bike man, not John Murray the sheep man.
That's what Matt Dunlop says is what you saved to John Murray bike. And then John Murray, because there's two John Murrays.
Oh yeah, Matt's obviously next door to John, your dad.
Yeah.
So in case anybody's wondering who the other John Murray is, we're obviously talking about Iona's dad.
No, it's a lot of times you hear it. It's like John Murray, and it's like even at Straight and Show last year when I was showing sheep and did all right, and somebody said, "I didn't know Chris Flat had Suffolks," and I'm like, "He doesn't. I have them."
Aye, that's right. You've got to share with Beachy on a Suffolk, haven't you? So it's like, it looks like your dad's into Suffolk.
Because it did well at Straight and Show, everybody thought it was John's, and it wasn't John's.
That sheep actually won overall, didn't it?
Aye. It was just because John
folks
usually wins
sheep.
shows.
Yes. Folks see sheep, they think John Murray.
No, it's John Murray the bike man, no John Murray the sheep man.
So John Murray the bike man, you're obviously very local to us here, John. What's your business?
Oh, Thomas Murray Agricultural Engineers started with my father mid-70s, 1975. Previous to that, my dad had worked at Willie Young's in at Kilmarnock, just behind us here.
Aye. It's still on the go, isn't it?
Aye.
That must be one of the oldest businesses in Kilmarnock.
And at that time, it was joined on to Kilmarnock Market. The market was actually the door through, so it went like a fair. So my dad served his time in there. Worked away there till he was his mid to late 20s and decided he wanted to be involved in machinery. And what Young's would be doing a lot of like, they did everything from nuts and bolts to forks and barrows and all that. But my dad wanted to do more machinery and balers and tractors and stuff. So he started up his own business, and but he had no money. We stayed in a council house back then, so he had no money. So they had to sell their car and bought a wee van and started away 75, 76. Just doing farm repairs and never had any agencies for anything, just worked away hard, building sheds and anything at all, just literally anything on the farm. Then he was offered a tractor franchise, a Renault tractor franchise back in early 80s. And within 3 years he was doing really well. He'd be about the third or fourth biggest dealer in Scotland. And fun enough, my first ever holiday, or a aeroplane holiday, as you say, was because my dad sold enough tractors to win a holiday.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Where was that?
To Rhodes, and went to Valaraki or something in Rhodes, and that was the first time most of us, or me, mum and dad, had been on an aeroplane. So, but back then, farming was booming. You know, back in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, it was much simpler times to be able to sell. You know, back then, tractors were in the teens or £20,000, and farming was booming. So, my dad was more than able, but it was a perfect time to start that kind of business.
Yeah.
And then we would have some really good support, some really fantastic customers. We still have as customers. Well, people don't some realise that farmers are very generous. Like Captain Curriam at Caprington along the road there would give my dad all the work, all the tractors, everything, and Henry Brothers and just all the local community Steeler staff. Every day would give us work at a time. Westgate Head, just right good community. And then it just kind of snowballed for there. And then the bikes would start, the quad bikes would start maybe mid-80s, early 80s with the 3 wheels, no the 4 wheels. And then it just went on.
Did they start with 3 wheels on farms before they did quads?
Aye.
Did they?
Aye, when I was...
Bugging about with a trike?
Aye, it was a 3 wheels and they had them for 2 or 3 years. My dad would sell quite a few of them. But then I can remember when the first 4 wheels came out, 4-wheel quads, 4-wheel bikes, and then it literally just exploded. Every day, you know, back then, every day. Nobody had one, so it wasn't like everybody wanted them, and it just snowballed for there. So my dad would up his numbers for 21 year, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, just every year it just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
And what bikes was that you started
That was
with?
Kawasaki. Well, I think we'll be the longest serving Kawasaki dealer in the UK, I think.
Because you're still Kawasaki.
I still sell a good few Kawasaki.
And that was what, the 80s?
82.
Right.
1982. So.
Wow, aye.
And then they were all only 2-wheel drive then. They were all just 2-wheel drive. People just used them as a personnel carrier just to get you from A to B onto the hill and maybe a wee trailer, but nobody really, there's no snackers, nothing like that back then. Everybody just used them to get to A to B.
Yep.
And then I can remember my dad took me off school when I was about 13 or 14, went away down into England, and there was a test drive of the first 4-wheel drives. And I remember coming back up the road in the car with my dad, and my dad says, this is going to be life-changing. We had an open day up at the top of Donald Hill the following year, and people were literally, I don't mean queuing up, but people were just one after the other, after the other. People could see what they could do. Nobody had seen a thing like this before. You know, like, say your dad's farm or any big hill farms. They had scramblers and stuff, but they never had 4 wheels that could take them away into the back of the hill. It was just exactly what people wanted at the time. And again, back then, they were only 2,500 quid or 3,000 quid. So they were.
But everything, price of lamb was less back.
Aye,
It's all right. But inflation, machinery is getting wild.
But even at that, they were still more affordable than that now.
Yeah.
I would say back then they were still, even though I'm a machinery dealer, a bike and quad dealer and UTVs, I shouldn't really say this as a dealer, but stuff is expensive now. You know, when you look at the average price of things, that's why with that CF Moto thing, it's just went off the scale because
it's the price.
The competition's selling things at 10,000, 11,000 for a quad bike for an average hill farm. There's no any small dairies now, but the average hill farm, that's a chunk of change every year or every 2 years to change a bike at 10 grand. You know, it takes a lot of lambs to get to 10 grand. Maybe not the new things are doing well, but so back then, it just boomed and we sold a lot of machinery and we had a good head of staff and we had rented premises again from Captain Cunningham.
Did he own right along to that bit where you are now?
He owned all that, and the property that we stayed in, he owned, and my dad managed to buy it. Then we bought the small holding we were in. It was 46 acres, 2 buyers, and a wee bungalow, and that was the buyer my dad worked in.
And was that the captain's as well?
Yeah.
That was?
Aye. It's a funny story. The captain came in one day and just out the blue and said to my dad, "Would you like to buy this?" And it was like, aye, I would really like to buy it. And he said, "Well, just get it valued by 2 auctioneers. Just 2 auctioneers, and whatever the average is, just send me the money."
Wow.
Like it.
That was with the
Why
captain.
is he called captain?
Because he was an army captain.
Oh,
It was his title from the war.
He fought in there.
Yeah.
He fought-
It's him, just for I suppose for people listening, a lot of people, but for you as well. Like the person that John's talking about there, Captain Current, so that was like my dad's gaffer, my dad's boss over at the farm.
That's who
so
started.
he owned Caprington, where I'm from.
right, okay.
And now his son William owns it.
Right, okay.
So that's
That's
who we're
the
referring
link.
to
Yeah,
there. So
okay.
Caprington obviously extended right. Did they own all the ground right along there at one time?
All the way. Our 10 Harperland would be the last bit. Then it would be Montgomery estates that owned
After
like
that.
Gilliland and Lauriston and all the kind of bits. But no, Harperland would be all owned by Caprington at one time.
Yeah.
But all the estates would start getting broken up. But still, it's no Caprington's still 1,800 acres. No, it's exactly small. But at one time, William could tell me it would go all the way to Comoros.
Yeah. But this is back in the days of inheritance, when there was inheritance taxes on
It
farms.
would be a need.
So-
it would be a need then to sell it.
Yeah, well, a farm that size, inheritance tax on it would be
The colossal.
serious. And it's a prime example of what's coming in again now, is you keep having to sell bits.
So it was a great opportunity for us to buy it. My dad got it bought. Business was doing fine, so it wasn't. But again, then I'm not embarrassed to tell people it's quite a good story. We would buy that in 1990. 46 acres of good ground at Dundonald, a bungalow and all the sheds for under 80 grand.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? I went in with my dad to buy it, and it's like you'll never get another opportunity to stick it. But that was the value. That was what the value.
Oh,
It wasn't. There was any.
valuations.
That was
Aye,
the
it wasn't
value.
a special deal, it was
no,
two
that was
valuations,
that was the thing. You know, Laurie.
How much did you pay the auctioneers?
But it was through Laurie and Simonton and Craig Wilson's at the time,
Right.
and
Aye.
they just gave us it and they gave the paperwork to the captain. That was it sorted out. Anyway, but that back then
80,000,
80,000 for 46 acres and a house and.
Well, those 46 acres a grand now would be 6,000-7,000 an acre. Anyway,
No more. I sold some of it there, and it was more than that. So
it's the best a grand. It's, aye.
well, I was disadvantaged for years. We got payment on that ground for years because when we took it on, it wasn't been farmed for a year or two, and the guy came out to do the evaluation, and there wasn't good fences, and there'd been horses running. It was all poached. So
So it looked poor.
we get well, what's the word? The
LFA.
LFA on it, aye.
Aye.
For all the years.
We have mentioned this podcast before. The LFA is an unusual one. There's some
So we could
incredible places
we could
get
grow
LFA.
we would grow barley, oats, and best of grass, and we were disadvantaged on that ground.
Yeah.
So
There's
anyway,
a lot of that.
but that's what it was. So we got a good payment off it, and my dad also kept some stock. He started away with some blackies actually, way back in the mid '80s, and eventually we ended up with about 150, 200 sheep. And at the height of it, he would maybe have 30 pedigree Belgian Blues as well at one time. So.
And was he farming? Like, did he have farming?
No,
background?
no. My grandfather was a gardener, and my other grandfather, he worked as a miner, and he also worked at Moorfield, just in the big factory along the road there. So there's no farming, no anything in our family. So
Aye, and mines, Ayrshire mines.
yeah. So my dad he would grow up in Crugad Home, a wee village, and it would be quite rural, and he just liked countryside, and he just liked farming and just.
But and once he does apprenticeship at Wally Young's.
Aye, no, he'd be around farms all the time and
Is it a
stuff.
young family that still owns that? Would you know? Is it
Yeah.
Still in the family that
Oh,
Wally
aye,
Young's?
we still work. They still come and get stuff for me.
Aye.
That's
The
nice,
boy-
that, isn't it?
Aye, it's a good...
The sons that would, the sons will be 70 now, but the sons would be there when my father was nearly there, just about kind of thing. So Young's is still on the go. It's a strong business.
Aye, I've not been up that part of Kilmarnock for donkeys, but
Strong business.
aye.
They do more.
But
Like,
I think they own part of the industrial estate over there.
they own
A lot of stuff.
about half a Kilmarnock.
Okay.
They're extremely.
Good on them,
They'll be
Yeah,
doing
amazing.
well. They'll
Aye,
be
good on them.
But Willie Young's back then, it would be a boom. Joined onto the market. My dad was saying market day. when he was a young boy, all he did was run
livestock market you're talking about, of course. When you're saying come out market, I was thinking,
no, it's a
Jim Craig said that, up at the train station.
There's a door through the back shop into the market.
Yep,
so,
yep,
and then pig sale, poultry sale, cattle sale, there's a sale every day. So the people would just walk out the market into the shop. It was like having a door. It was like,
straight
imagine
into the market.
Turf built onto.
Aye.
I actually walked through a door into the market, so it just went like
cars at air or something like that.
But back then there was no obviously internet, or there wasn't as many dealers around, so everybody went to the market, then just went and then just got like forks and wellies and batters and chain. It just went. My dad says it just went like a fair all day, every day.
And ball bearings and whatever.
Just all your farm consumables that people would buy, water pipe fittings, galvanised fittings and stuff. Back then it just went. It was just tremendous, and they would be, but back then, as I say, there was no internet, no reps, no vans going round about the place. There'd be no
price comparing, just
but there'd be no, there'd be very limited competition.
Aye,
you know what I mean? So if you were at the market, and farmers are like that, if it's beside the market, we'll just bob in and get odds and sods, and just whatever. I think that they would, so they would do well out of that. But as I say, my dad always had bigger dreams of being able to sell tractors and machinery and balers and stuff like that. So,
but he worked up. Obviously, he was doing the Renault tractors.
We
don't get Renault tractors anymore.
No, they were bought over by Class. But for the first 4 or 5 years, there would be none of that. My dad would. He built sheds. He
built the polytunnel. He put a polytunnel at Capington.
I was involved with that. We put the big shed up at Capington as well. We would build the slatted shed at Cockhill. He'd build lots of different sheds. And for instance, Dave McPhee, the boy at the end of the road, his father had a fishing boat, and my dad would go down and weld winches and stuff on the fishing boat. And Dundonald Castle at the time, they were renovating it, and they needed some structural steel welded and all these things. So it was just anything.
Just turn his hand to anything.
Anything that was on the go, my dad would just go and do it. But it really came once once you land a tractor franchise or bikes and stuff like that, that's what I always wanted to do. And once you get a tractor into a farm, at that time, maybe not as much now with tractors as such, but farmers were really quite loyal. Once you put one in, you were pretty shown to get the next one and the next one. Because you get into a farm, they're all blue, they're all red, or they're all orange or whatever at the time. So you would
not so much now, eh?
No.
A lot of variety, No. But then probably pricing, is it? Like, it's so dear, you have to shop about. And
aye, but then as well, there wasn't as many dealers, so my dad did really well with all the local guys, because why buy a tractor for 20 miles away when there's a guy 2 miles along the road?
Yeah.
And it was all to do with service and stuff like that. So why travel away to, say there's other dealers at Cumnock or whatever, but, you've got a dealer on your door. And back then, I did actually a wee thing a couple of years ago in Dundonald Parish. When I first started getting into my dad's work and my work now, there would be lots of dairy farms in Dundonald. There's lots of dairy farms. I think now there's 2. And one, well, no, there's actually 1, and the other one's just on the border. But back then, like my wee bit was a dairy farm. They had 28 Ayrshire cows. Mrs. Templeton Archie had 28 Ayrshire cows. They had 32 cows, but they milked 28 cows most of the time. And they made a really good living off of that. Way back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, made a good living off of 28 cows. Ayrshire cows. I've still got old black and white pictures of these Ayrshire cows with their horns and all this kind of thing.
How do you know they're Ayrshire's if they're black and white pictures?
Well,
that's a nightmare actually for the Ayrshire guys back in the day, isn't it?
You can.
You're not picturing the way you're getting Ayrshire cow and she looks like a bloody Holstein.
I would like to think, well, there wasn't many Holsteins there, and it would be an Ayrshire cow. Doesn't matter if it's black and white or no. You can still tell an Ayrshire cow. You can still say an Ayrshire cow. But back then, like there was every day was milking. So there was. I think I did a thing a few weeks ago, or somebody asked me. I think there's something like 15 less farms in Dundonald Parish farming now than there was when my dad started his business, and that's only in Dundonald.
Is that right?
Well, you look at Galway Side, you look at Gillen, you look at all these. There's lots. They've all been consumed by other farmers.
Most of it's still farming. There'll be a bit of hooses, but most of it's still farming.
There's 2 along my road. There's
but that'll be true. Even this steading we're in here became part of another farm. Alright, it's been split up. In fact, we've actually created a farm. That doesn't happen very often.
No,
like us buying this farm actually created a new farm. in the district?
Obviously, there's always the same amount of ground, but it's just but back then, so every farm needed like a hay bob, a mower, a roller, a fertiliser spreader. The contractors weren't as thick in the ground as they are now, so most farmers were only, most Ayrshire farms were only 80 to 120 acre. So they did most of the work themselves, putting dung out and fertilising, rolling, harrowing. So back then for dealers, it was good because every wee farm would buy do it every year or two. So I don't mean you had to try too hard to be successful, but if you're selling the right bit of kit, it was pretty...
And you backed it up.
It was pretty good.
But see what you're saying about the number of farms? That is probably what we're seeing with the issue with tractors now, is that actually contractors are doing more and more work.
Oh, aye.
And there's only so many of them.
Tractors,
rather than selling 3 tractors at 120 horsepower, you have the contractor buys one at 280 horsepower.
Well, you see it in big farms around about here.
That's it.
Yeah.
I remember my father sold a 150 horsepower tractor to a contractor up at Darvel, and people were sitting in our yard for maybe a week or 10 days to get PDI'd and all sorts to do it for the customer to get it, and people were actually coming to see this monster air tractor.
Aye.
And see, now it's not even the average size.
Aye.
Now, that wasn't a lifetime ago. That was only in the early 90s. That wasn't a lifetime ago, but people are going, what's that man buying that for? A bloody hell. Look at the size of that thing. Now that's not even an average size of a farm tractor. They're all bigger. The average size now is much bigger than that. But it's, if you go to local farms around about here, like the place that we're sitting in here, like Jim would have more tractors at one time, but now he's just got much bigger tractors with much bigger implements. Why send 2 tractors to a field to do a job when you can send 1 tractor to a field and pull a 6-footer plough rather than send 2 tractors with 2 3-footer ploughs with 2 drivers? Just send one man with a bigger yoke and just get it done faster.
But even it's one thing, even the size, it's the cost. It's like you're saying the cost relative back in the day. A tractor was nothing like
Tractors were
always
relatively expensive, and I always remember my father telling me he was sitting in the kitchen one day with a chap, and as a Robert Henry came in actually, and he said to the chap says, I don't know if I can justify it, and he says, you won't be able to justify it, but you need it.
Good sales part.
No, but that was it was hard to justify.
That's 20, Robert Henry said you couldn't justify it.
But you couldn't justify it, but you need it. So you thought that's a justification.
That is you justifying it.
You know what I mean? But if you actually look at the payments, you'd think, God almighty, I'll need to sell 30 calves or something, whatever it was, to pay for this thing every year for 2 years or 3 years, whatever it was. But you couldn't work without it, so...
And that's really squeezing a lot of folk now. We keep coming back to it. The contractors are more... There is more contractors on the ground now. And with the size of machinery having stuff,
but again,
I think it's a great option.
But again, Cammy, well, you're a wee bit younger than me, certainly, but you used to go to farms, and every farm had always 2 young boys that were able to drive a tractor or to do
staff,
things.
Or you just,
2 young lads that would come for the village and give them a hand. Now you get into farms, and it's maybe a father and son, and to do the silage or to do baling or to do whatever, obviously they do the actual stock work, but they're so heavily stocked that they just don't have time to be able to go and do the field work. So if you can phone Woodsy and he can come in and blitz your silage in a day, or put all your slurry out in a day, and fair enough, there's a wee bill to pay, but that means you're out doing your stock work and all the rest of it. So
and you don't need to employ that staff all year for the odd busy time.
And you need to buy the machinery.
You don't need to buy the machinery. And you're getting really skilled people.
Exactly.
Rather than you bugging about with a baler or in a mower and all this, trying to make the job.
They've got
all the best gear.
Most big places now can obviously justify bigger bits of kit, but there's still lots of farms that I get into that just couldn't justify buying like a slurry tanker now.
No.
You know what I mean? Like a £20,000 to work 10, 12 days a year. Just phone the boys and they'll come in and put it out in a day. And it's like,
and with the umbilicals.
You know what I mean? It makes no sense to have that machine sitting for, even if you used it for 2 months, it's still sitting in the shed for 10 months doing nothing and depreciating. So just get the boys in and they'll tidy it up in no time. And see, to be fair, when you actually look at contractors' rates, I personally don't think it's that actually. I think it's a great deal they're giving most farmers.
Oh, I think it's right. I see we get the 2 pits. Don't ask me the exact acreage. I think it was about 100 odd acre. 2 full pits, whatever that was, 100 odd acre, I think. And we got 115 round bales And that was them doing all the mowing.
And I was here that day.
Scott Brown did some mowing, to be fair.
I was here that day. There were over £1 million worth of kit here that day.
Well, there you go. Especially when that big crone thing was in.
Crone
That was
thing
$500,000 nearly
and
itself.
the big load all thing.
So
5 tractors and all the butterfly. There'd be easy £1 million and a quarter sitting in machine. So you're like,
well, the whole thing came to about 10 grand. Or 10.5 grand. I can't just remember exactly with the VAT on it, but that's plus VAT. That's without the VAT, but it's about 10.5 grand.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Well, there's like 5 men here. Like, they even
Yeah.
help one wet day. They even help sheet the pit. And it's like, all right, that's no counting. Folk will be like, rightly so, thinking that's not counting diesel and other wee bits.
Of
like
course.
That. But honestly, a bit of
but
grub
for
and
that crop,
but,
for that crop to be in one day, job done,
I know.
sheeted.
That's
I can move
huge.
on. I can move on with something, doing something else, and you can sit and go, right, that's my silage in now. Pressure
Yeah.
off.
Aye.
I can go to the Highland Show, whatever it is. You can go away and do
Yeah.
something that day.
but obviously, you're back to you did the Renault. What happened? Class bought it, and you
Class bought it over, and there was a Class dealer in the
Folk
area.
like hearing about the old machinery.
Aye, Class bought Renault over. Renault were absolutely a tremendous tractor, and my dad did well with them. But anyway,
hopefully no mind me, but Cape Printing, I've literally just got rid of the Renault tractor.
the last-
or they maybe still have it, but it's
aye, that was the last one that my dad would sell them. Aye, that would be
Ancient, that
20 odd years ago. So aye, Class had a dealer in this area, and he did Class machinery, did like silage choppers and combines and everything. And they said to my dad, "Would if you wanted it, you'd need to be able to sell combines and chopper." And my dad's like, "No, we're not wanting to go down that route. We're tractors and bikes. We're no.
Combine,
You can have too many things." And he says no. Plus the financial aspects of it. You know,
you need a bike, you need
at that time it was obviously cheaper than that now, but there were 100,000 quid each kind of thing. And my dad's like, "Oh no, we're financially fine, but it's far too much a commitment for us to go down that route." So we said no, and it all went to the local Class dealer, which was fine. But with so many tractors out there under the Renault banner that we still had all this work and all the servicing and all the stuff to look after. But then we get involved with another tractor franchise, Valtra Tractors, and worked away with them for a wee while. But we found that selling tractors, for the commitment you need, for the financial commitment you need, for the staff you need, and the profit level there just wasn't justifiable for us.
Right.
We'd had to invest a huge amount of money. It was going to be, plus at that time you had massive companies like Jane S. Montgomery and Gordon's, 5 depots, 6 depots. You had, you had lots of other. The competition was serious.
They were already up and running.
The competition was serious in the area. You could buy. There was 10 or 12 different dealers that you could buy a tractor from in Ayrshire. So,
do you not think we are unbelievably lucky? Not even just Ayrshire, just where we are here at Kilmarnock. Like, we're surrounded by dealers.
So many. Yeah.
well, you could look at it. You could look at it away, and my opinion is far too many.
Well, they'd probably say that too, actually. But that must come back to Ayrshire having so many small farms.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many
But
customers.
when my dad started away in the 70s, there was 4
dealers. Right.
in Ayrshire.
Aye.
Now there'll be 12.
Yeah, there's nearly 4 in Kilmarnock, I think.
Now there'll be 12. But they're all fighting for a smaller pot. The kits get more expensive, but there's less units getting sold. So all the dealers are
less
fighting
farmers.
for a smaller pot. So a lot of farmers and a lot of people think buying £100,000 tractor, it's really profitable for the dealer. See, to be fair, for pounds spent, it's not terribly it's profitable, but not hugely profitable. You have to be able to sell a lot of tractors for your workshop throughput to be able to make money. And for us only selling, back to that time, 15 tractors a year or 20 tractors a year, it was just going for 60 and 70 tractors a year. It just wasn't feasible for us to do. So anyway, when I was always bike-minded, but just because you could put a bike in the back of the van. Somebody would phone you could put a bike in the back of the van, drive up to Muirkirk, roll it out the van, talk to the guy for half an hour. It was like 3,000 or 4,000 quid. Fine. You write your check, you'd leave it and come home. And it was just, it was just easy air. You didn't need a lorry. You didn't need all these fancy computers. You didn't need all this. I found that, and they weren't terribly complicated. So we would sell, we could cover from Ballantrae, away down below Ballantrae, away to Straven, away up to Inverclyde, Kinnyway. And if you just couldn't do that with tractors because there was so many dealers. But so you had so many opportunities. And a farmer would, a bike needs changed quite regularly. You know what I mean? Farmers are quite rough on them. So they change them every 2 years. So it's eat, sleep and repeat every 2 years. You know what I mean?
Well, we'll put an advert in here and I'm just going to ask you a bit more about those bikes. Here's an advert coming.
Crystalyx Extra High Energy Feed Blocks have been providing high energy supplementation to ewes, lambs and rams in the UK since 1978. Packed full of protein, vitamins, minerals and trace elements, Crystalyx Extra High Energy has been proven to increase live lamb numbers and improve lamb daily live weight gain at a cost of only 4 to 7 pence per ewe per day. To view the full Crystalyx range and find your nearest stockist, visit crystalyx-global.com.
And we're back. Now you're talking about, this was all Kawasaki's initially.
Yeah.
Just Kawasaki's now.
Just Kawasaki, it was only bikes. It was only four-wheel bikes, but then the buggies came out.
Kawasaki is Japanese, is it?
Yes, Japanese. And they were built in Japan then. And
Where are they built now?
In America.
Oh, are they?
Really?
In Nebraska, in America, yeah.
Why is it an American company owns them now?
In the Midwest, no. Kawasaki are one of the biggest companies in the world, no. The production, they still manufacture all the parts in Japan, but the production costs are so high in Japan.
Because of the wages are so high?
70% of the market was America.
Okay.
So they built them in Japan and shipped them all, whole goods all the way to America. They thought, well, it'd be easier to put all the parts in big boxes and send them to a factory in America and build them in Nebraska, in like the central, in like that's the Midwest, and that's like a
easy
bullseye and a
distribution
dartboard to send them right round about North America. So that would start, then it just, it made a lot of sense, to be fair. If you see, most of them are actually built.
But to be fair, wages are probably cheaper in America than they are in Japan.
Well, I'd imagine.
Japan.
Oh, serious, but
Japan's wild,
it's not just that. It's the factory space. It's assembly lines.
Yes,
They're so limited in the assembly. When we were at CF Moto last week, the manufacturing is one thing, but they need a much bigger space to assemble everything in. You've got hundreds of frames coming in. You're talking. Well, you've seen the factory; it's massive. In Japan, they just wouldn't have that space. Yeah. And then again, maybe in the 80s, Kawasaki, I'll make this number up, they were maybe making 10,000, but by the 90s they were selling 100,000.
Right.
So, the four-wheel bikes just went off the scale, so they just couldn't cope with building them.
Who was like first with the quad bikes? Who's the OGs of it? Like,
well, there was three wheels. Honda and Kawasaki would have three wheels, the trikes. Then I think most of them would come out just about the same time. Obviously, all these Japanese companies, your Suzuki, your Yamaha, your Kawasaki, Honda made two-wheeled. They were obviously sports bikes and road bikes, so they were.
Yeah, well, Kawasaki's like a dirt bike, and it's like a racing bike.
Racing bike, aye, but they won the Superbike championships and that regularly. The road bike side of the business, the quad bike side's small compared to the road bike side for Kawasaki's a global brand. But
that's the same. Just to touch back on, but that's the same with like when I was over the CF Moto thing, and obviously John's just back for China as well, actually, which we'll talk about. But like their big thing is actually not like farming. Agriculture's quite a small thing for CF Moto. They're growing it all the time.
I was actually looking at it this morning. They saw it a wee bit. The Chinese consume literally no four-wheel drive quad bikes. The massive
for farming, you mean?
Aye, very small. 72% go to America.
So do they use like two-wheelers?
The different style of farm, it's not like the style of farming that we have. You know what I mean?
They just do it on foot.
Aye, there's the staff they have, and it's like there's no many hill farm. I don't know. I've never really been in really rural China, but it's not like where you are. There's no like you go to Muirkirk. There's 20 hill farms. Right round about
so
the
they
place.
Don't actually sell that many quad bikes.
They don't sell
China?
many. They sell a lot of road bikes and small, scooter type, wee scooter type
Moped.
things. Yeah, moped type
Yeah,
things.
okay, there's hundreds of them. My God,
Millions of them.
Everybody's
But
got one of them.
the
You've
big-
been to Thailand, it'll be even
Aye,
worse.
everywhere.
Aye.
The biggest market is America and Europe, Australia, New Zealand. So, that's where.
Yeah, and even then, with American that, I can't remember the figures, but something like 80% of the bikes are for leisure.
more. It's
Really?
actually more
Aye.
for trail riding and
For,
stuff like
for
that.
folk kind of about, like for folk just to go about
hunting and
on their
fishing,
day off.
hunting and fishing
Aye.
and shooting and just going trail riding at the weekends.
Right.
If I was away in Canada a few weeks ago and speaking to guys, and I was asking them about quad bikes and stuff, and they say no, everybody's got them, but they don't work with them. They pack up like hampers and lunches and all that and go way up into the mountains. And that's
Right,
what they
just
do.
doing their day off.
Because
I will literally drive them for days. They'll go on
aye.
treks.
Oh, they've got GPS and everything built into
Apparently
them.
it's big in Europe too. Apparently there's a lot of quad bike trails. It's not greenways or something they're called. You get some in England. There's none in Scotland.
But see, if
I
you
don't
go
think.
to go to Czech Republic or any of these places, I think the Czech Republic is only second behind the UK for sales. And again, it's the same. They're not used for farming. It's all used for recreation.
Right.
They just pack up jerry cans, fill up with sandwiches and campfires or whatever they want to do, and head into the wilderness for 2 days and 3 days at a time.
Imagine sitting on a quad bike all day.
No.
No, I know. That was one of the things when I was there with a lot of competition winners, and like, okay, a lot of them were racers and stuff too, which is fair enough. That's adrenaline and stuff. But a lot of them were just folk that love to go away for the week in a quad bike.
I'll still get it if people are meeting. They'll say, "Oh, what do you do?" I say, "I sell quad bikes for a living." "Oh, do you take them out on a Saturday afternoon?" Like, no.
So I get PTSD looking at it.
You're on them. Like, your life revolves around about them. It's like, no, I wouldn't dream of taking a bike out on a Saturday afternoon for a run. It's not something you'd ever think about. But they would think, "Oh, why not?" And you're like, but because it's just so common,
novelty.
so common for us to just to jump onto a bike and scoot around the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, the Chinese are, when we were over there, the scooters and things, but no, you don't see many.
So is with CF Moto, sorry.
Yeah.
I know, and you go,
No, I was
because
gonna
like I say,
say-
we never actually spoke about China on the podcast. I don't think we did do a part one about it, but then it never made the edit.
No.
But so now's the time to.
Aye, so was it with CF Moto? Was it a
Yes.
similar trip? that you
Similar
went
trip.
on?
They invited the top. I think there's 72 dealers, and I think they invited like 15 or 18 dealers in the UK. There's
Right.
2 of us from Scotland. Myself and Grant Gary for Highland Leisure, away up in Invergordon, and we met a lot of English, Welsh, Irish boys. Will was there.
Yeah, Will from
Will's
DGT Agri, who's big on TikTok.
He's
Right.
he's a topper.
Oh, great
a
guy, great
tremendous fun. Anyway, so we all got invited out, and we were all wondering what we were going to see. Like, we've all
Right.
been to many factories. Most of us have been around factories many times, but every single one of us was, oh my God, this is off the scale.
In what way?
Technology,
Right.
just the size of the place, the production, even the cleanliness, the amount of staff they have, it's just a massive industry, and there's just no. Before you go, I've been to travel to China 2 or 3 times in my past, and you get into factories and there's like you're thinking there's like open fires and wee guys sitting on the ground with hammers making. It's nothing like
like
that.
slick
Everything
and-
is completely robotic, computerized. The technology, as I say, I've been in like the tractor factories all around the world and bike factories all around, and it's just like something I've never seen before.
The one of the clever things that I thought was really interesting is for staffing, because there's so many staff there. There's hundreds of folk. What they do is they
So
just
I'll interrupt there. They've got 9,000 of staff.
9,000, and a lot of them there's like accommodation on the place. It's like a city. It's like a town.
They've got tower
it's like a town.
blocks for the. They've got 6 or 7 restaurants in the place. They feed the workers. There's not like canteens. These things they get morning, noon, and night. They run 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, and everybody gets every single person. And I don't mean it's like. I mean it's proper.
Like a sandwich, aye.
No, it's
like
proper
a-
sit down
proper
meals.
cooked
It's good food.
Aye, we did see some of the canteens, and it's like, minted. Everything was minted. There's no doubt about it. But one thing that was really interesting is because there's so many staff. Obviously, there's going to be a bit of turnover there with staff, like any business. Although I'd imagine in China it's a lot less than other countries. But like when they're doing the process of the bikes, they don't train. Nobody knows how to build a whole bike.
Right.
They just know how to do their bit. So it's really easy to train them. So like your bit is to put the mudguards on.
And that's it. That's
So they
all
get
you
their
need to know what to do.
their week's training, or probably 2 days training, like in the workway. And there's always 2 in every station.
There's a supervisor at every third station. He walks about with a blue visor on, a blue vest thing on, and he just watches everybody. But
and they keep it simple. Like,
you've
got 4 screws, and you do 4 screws every day.
And you're going to limit mistakes so much by doing that.
Well,
because
one of the best things for limit mistakes is, as the bike moves all the time, to keep everything moving and working and all that. You can stop it, obviously, but it moves. It's on a wee robot that just moves, follows a line on the floor all the time, going round.
So it'll be, sorry to interrupt you, so it'll be on like a time thing. So it knows how long it should be each bit, basically. Okay, well, I like that.
It has a certain speed it goes. It's not like it's a rush. Like, there's loads of time, but it ticks away all the time. And there's a wee trolley with the bits that moves around with the bike.
Right.
And if it gets to the end, this is what I just love this. If it gets to the end of that zone, right, there's scales on this thing, on the trolley. If it gets to the end of that zone, ready to move on the next stage, and say you've missed a washer or a nut, it'll flag up.
It shuts the thing down. It doesn't let go any further.
There's too much weight on it.
You've missed something.
That's so clever.
Genius, isn't it?
Simple.
So simple,
but it's so clever, yeah.
But genius.
Well,
you cannot miss it.
We timed it. It's no roughly, but it's 1 hour and 40 minutes for a frame, just a bare metal frame, goes sitting on the carousel till somebody drives it off the other side.
Is that right?
And how many bikes are they making a day?
I didn't know.
Well, they make 287,000 a year.
287,000 a year.
That's across more than one factory. To be fair, that's there's one in Mexico as well, I think.
Yeah, it's just coming online now, but
they're
driving them off the production line.
I think they're going to 1 million a year is the plan, isn't it?
Well, see what they did when they build factories. That factory is capable of doing twice. See, when they built the factory, they didn't have the throughput that they needed, but they still built the factory twice as big as what they needed. So
they're ready.
Now that is ready because we're selling stuff as quick as we can get it in. So now they can upgrade it. Say they need 20% upturn. They can it's just seamless. They don't have to add anything onto the factory. Everything's there ready to go. They can double production at a flick of a switch because all the infrastructure's there built already to go, which is really mind-boggling when you see the size of the place. You're like, why is this place so big? And it's just because they're built. They kept going on to us about economy of scale. Once you get to, the cost will come down, even though they're very competitive. If they can up by 20%, their throughput, it actually means every machine's going to cost less. Which they're very customer based. They're only interested in making a certain amount of money off each bike. They'll just hand it back. They'll just hand it back to
the price will come down.
The price will come down.
Yeah,
but they've got it. When you're in China, just not even with CF Moto, just the whole infrastructure. I know people have got a bee in their bonnet sometimes about China and stuff like that, but they make the UK look as if we're so far behind. It's hard to believe. You know what I mean?
But I think there's a real reckoning here, like in the UK, that folk are realising that actually we
need to do something about it.
We are. We don't have UK used to be, like, folk mention the UK or Great Britain as they like to be on the world stage. It's like a powerhouse. Now it's like those guys that left that incredible trading bloc they were in.
I was talking to a boy
those guys that voted to leave the European Union. Those fools, that's kind of the world view of it.
I was talking to a boy for Aaron this morning about a thing, and he's talking about the boat that's coming from Poland. Why is there an iron ferry getting built in Poland?
Is it Poland? I thought it was Turkey.
Or somewhere. It's no the Clyde anyway.
Turkey,
and you're like, why are we not building that in the Clyde?
Well, maybe it happened last time we tried to
build.
No,
but you understand what I mean. They can't even...
I can't believe the UK government gave them warships to build. Like, did you not see the painted on windies on an iron ferry?
But see if that was any other... It wouldn't be like that. But the infrastructure we've got now is so poor. We've never looked into the future and seen what's going to happen. I was talking to somebody the other day about this. You go from here to Edinburgh, it's a 2-lane motorway. When we're going to Highland Show, it's a 2-lane motorway either way. If you go to these other countries, again, talking about China, there's 6 or 8 lanes going that way and 6 or 8 lanes going that way.
But then if you look at the number of people in China compared to Scotland,
that is a big factor.
But I'm saying, see, when they build something, they build it for the future. They don't just look at...
That's a fair point. We build it for what we need to
know. They look and say,
You
well, in
can
10 years' time, there's going to be... See, when I was first in China 20 years ago, there was very few cars. But now there's cars everywhere. So 20 years ago, they thought, right, we're going to build some roads now. We better build some real roads in case this happens. And now they put that infrastructure in 15 years ago, and now they're getting...
Prime example of that is like we build like that Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Like, you build that, you spend $1 billion quid or whatever it was in that, and like it's full immediately. As soon as you open the doors, it's full. No car parking, no nothing. It's a shambles. And the other one is they're building a new HMP Glasgow, so Berlin, and like Berlin is just this amazing place. Prison, aye. But Berlin is like the most famous prison in Scotland by miles. That's where all the murderers and all the Glasgow gangsters used to go. But like, you know, I've been in Berlin, I don't know, 10, 15 times, maybe tops.
What's it like?
It is unbelievable. Like
it was built in Victorian days.
How old it is.
It's just an old.
Right, okay.
Built in Victorian
like
times.
you go in there and it's like you imagine it would be.
Is it?
Like ancient, like old, massive, big, high walls, and I know it's a prison, but you know, it's like. Yeah, it's ancient. All the paint's falling off. Everything's falling to bits. And
but we
like in here. Actually, the walls in here are not too dissimilar to some of it. I don't get me wrong. They paint overhangs and try and hide the cracks. But they're building. But just to finish that on what they're saying, John, they're building a new HMP Glasgow. I think it only holds 200 or 300 foot more than Berlin.
What are they doing?
I know. Berlin is overrun as it is.
I just think when you're going to build something, like the Chinese are looking at it and going, right, we're forecasting there's going to be X amount more vehicles, or the factories thinking they're going to need so much more production. They put it into place before the thing starts, so they're covering themselves for that.
Yeah, they're ahead of the game.
One difference there, though, if we're on it, the difference with China is that it's not a democracy like it is here, so they can plan for the future, whereas our parties here only care about the short term. And it's a really weak way to build a society.
I would also say that they encourage, like, if you've got a factory and you need another factory built onto the side of it, it's not in the UK, just the way it is here. You need to go through planning, you need to go through this, you need to go through that. They don't have any of that. They just say...
Do they just charge on?
Just charge on, put up.
What's China like as a place? Like, what's it like going about?
Oh, it's pretty smart.
Is it?
I did say we are seeing the best of it. We were in Hangzhou, and did you go to Shanghai as well?
Hangzhou, aye. I've been in rural, outside the city, and you don't have to leave the city that far to get into... There is a certain element of people up here and people down here.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of poor folk in the
since I was there 20 years ago, I was there the other week, it is very rapidly middling out. There is a lot of middle class people now, whereas there was like the elite, or whatever you would say, the loaded folk. Then there's the workers, which was always just the communists. But now there's a big middle class, and when we're away, we're talking about food. Beef consumption, lamb consumption, all this consumption's way up because of the middle class.
Right.
You know, we were getting lamb. We were getting lamb every time we were out. It was absolutely tremendous as well. But when I was there many years ago, you wouldn't have seen beef or lamb just because it was.
They bought pork and
pork and chicken.
Was the food amazing?
I liked it.
Amazing.
Not everybody liked it. I liked it. I'll eat most things, but I would have said the food was really good. But again, you're away with some folk that are pretty standard steak pie and mince and tatties and everything, and they've never really had a bash at
chicken feet,
duck tongues,
chicken feet were right.
Jellyfish, stuff.
Aye, jellyfish. That's right. I forgot about that one.
Aye, jellyfish.
Did you say duck tongues?
Duck tongues.
But,
aye.
like the jellyfish, what a waste of time. It was just it was just the sauce. It was just like.
What did you do?
It was like stop showing off, mate. It's like come on.
I would try things. I'm thinking, well, I've never had it. I'll have a bash. But no, there's you get lovely things. You know, you get the duck and pancakes. You know, you buy it out a thing, you roll up, and you get stuff like that, and you get lovely chicken and stuff like that. So no, the food's fine, but it's not Chinese food that you get out the takeaway on a Friday night.
That's no yellow curry.
No.
There's no like sweet and sour chicken or anything like that.
Chicken balls. Yeah. Chickens don't have balls, sir.
It's pretty authentic, and they're quite heavy on their vegetables, which I quite like. So
Yep.
a lot of the vegetable dishes were absolutely super. Again, I think it was just because they would be so used to
A lot of fish as well.
a lot of fish not having that much money, so they would
Bulk up with
utilise
veg.
a lot of vegetables. Aye.
Yeah.
No, but the economy, when you're walking about, the place is booming in the city. But I was going to say something else there, actually. When I was there, I was amazed that the CEO stood up, and Charles, and he spoke to us directly, and he says, thank you all very much for coming and all this kind of thing. And he says, we're here to build machines for you. You tell us what you want and we will build it for you. Whereas I've been to many, many places and it's like, we're going to build this and you're going to sell it.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, oh, that doesn't really suit our part of the world. Whereas they're so
Amenable,
forward
like,
thinking that,
looking,
right,
yeah.
you tell us what you want. And another thing I noticed, or everybody noticed, there's so many young women and girls
Yeah, that's true.
very,
actually.
very high up,
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
really high up.
I never thought of that.
European
That's true.
managers, world managers,
Yeah.
PG&A, parts, goods and accessories, they're all well-educated young women. Like you think
I
it's
think
going to be...
China is good for that, though.
All right, but I don't know why. I just thought about old Chinese men sitting smoking fags and everybody running about after them. But no, these really, really well-educated young women, and they were so switched on. It is unbelievable.
But I think Asia, in terms of human rights, in terms of being progressive with sexuality and all that, and gender, Asia are probably ahead of us in a lot of senses.
Then was it not with
when you
China?
think of Thailand, Thailand's most famous for transgenders.
I just thought...
I mean,
that's
somebody says Thailand, you think of ladyboys.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't.
Well, John, wait till you go.
I just thought it was really... I don't know why, and it sounds sexist that I actually even thought that.
Yeah,
but
but-
when I went, and they were so... there's a Jocelyn, one of the Chinese girls came up to me one night, and she was parts, goods and accessories, and she was saying, now, what accessories do you sell on your bikes at the moment? And I'm saying, we sell this and that and that. And, sorry, accessories, we don't make what accessories you sell, and you say, well, this, that and that. And this was in a restaurant, say, at 9 o'clock at night. And the next night, I'm sitting in another restaurant with the team, and she comes over with a computer, all these drawings of all these accessories that they've done already for us,
Really?
with prices and stuff. And I'm like, I've never honestly seen anything as
Slick.
it's slick.
and
It's just
fast,
to me
yeah.
that's how on the ball they are. But no, they
really
they
impressive.
were. But I think the Chinese, these younger people, they're all very highly educated. Right? See the technology
English
they've
is
got.
amazing. Their English is
See
amazing.
the technology they've got in the factory. All the factories, you've got massive universities in China churning out really, really highly educated engineers and scientists and all that. And one of my things was when I was there, these machines that we're getting now, I've got Auto Android and CarPlay and electric this and electric that and sat nav and everything. And I said, why are you putting all these accessories or add-ons into these machines? And their answer was, because we can. It doesn't cost much because we've got the technology. We've designed a lot of the technology for this. It doesn't actually cost that much to put it in the machine. And you think, oh, maybe that's right. Because they've got stacks and stacks of really clever people at the factories to be able to do that kind of thing.
I mean, I can the Apple CarPlay thing at first I was like, oh, it's quite exciting, but for me, it's like I just listen to my headphones anyway. Like I just like the handy stuff.
It's just a thing.
I think it's for the leisure folk. It'll really suit them.
it's
See if you're on the bike for hours a day and all that, but see, because I'm in and out the buggy all the time, because I was using it, but then you'd be like, I couldn't hear it when I go to open the gate. So you'd be like, pause it to open the gate. Whereas now I just headphones.
But what their idea is, they've put it in and you're not paying for it.
No, exactly. Yeah.
If that
it's
was
cheap. It's not an
Whereas it
extra.
like sets them
if that-
apart.
I'll not name any competition because that's not right to do that and that sort of thing. But my competition have this sort of thing, but you have to pay for it. It's an optional extra. You have to pay whatever hundreds of pounds for it. With them, they just put it in and you
it's
can
like the wind and all that
almost
sort of
have it for free.
Yeah.
But the technology they've got, exceptional. We're going down to Lama in January, and I had Chris on the phone this morning asking us if we're going down and stuff. I said, aye. And they've got another 4 or 5 new models for us in January again.
Wow.
Do you know what I love, Iona? All my livestock on one simple app.
Hi, Cammy. Next you'll be telling me your cows can send emails.
Well, they can't do that yet. But with HerdWatch, managing livestock is easy. One app, all your cattle and sheep compliance records, medicine tracking and more right there in your pocket. Tired of paperwork piling up like muck in the parlour? Sick of chasing scraps of paper when you'd rather be chasing sheep? Then you need HerdWatch.
HerdWatch lets you register calves before you've even wiped the afterbirth off your boots.
I preferred it when it said feet. It's so quick, I had time left to make a cuppa and drink it. I know you guys love this bit.
Whether you're juggling lambing, TB testing, or just trying to remember where you left your wellies, HerdWatch makes sure your records are always up to scratch.
Over 22,000 farmers across the UK and Ireland can't all be wrong. Well, not this time.
Download HerdWatch now and join the herd, because the only thing you should be wrestling is the gate on a windy day.
HerdWatch, farm smarter, not harder. New bikes and stuff.
New buggies and bikes.
I bet this will be like the new bike I tried when I was over there.
Sort of, yeah.
Aye, but one of them.
And they're so...
No new buggy models.
Yeah.
Is there?
EVs and stuff.
Oh, the EV, that's right, aye. It'll be a big seller. Golf courses.
It was one of the
things.
things, the EV bike and EV buggy. I was at Roundston the other day, right? And me and John were talking about it. And he said, I don't know. And I says, well, whether it is the future or not, but an EV buggy, say this building we're in here, and somebody stored their bike in here, you could put solar panels on the roof here, have 2 battery packs there, and just come in, plug your bike in it, or buggy in it at night. The next morning, you're ready to go. The way the payments and farms going to now, your carbon audit, your carbon footprint is going to be measured all the time. I get into a lot of hill farms, hundreds of hill farms, and the petrol that they use for the bikes is one of the biggest, so I don't know how it'll go, but I'm not saying it.
EV's not going to take off in hill farms though, because you could be away for hours. You can't risk an EV. Even working the hills can drain like hell. Like
I would think so, but in the future,
but like me,
but it's
running about the roads,
technology
EV will get better. Of course it will. It'll be the same with cars. Eventually, it'll be 3 days without a charge.
In 5 years' time,
like my phone does.
In 5 years' time, the technology we've got could be so much different from what we've got now. But all I'm saying is, it's you have to look at these kind of things. But see, for big estates, let's say big arable estates and stuff like that, they're just needing, or caravan sites, or councils, or golf courses, or a dairy farmer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Having an electric thing you just plug into the wall. Even at night, now you can plug it into the wall and run it on cheap. But I'm not saying I'm terribly excited about it, but it's definitely coming.
Be dear as hell, but that'll be the problem, a lot dearer than a petrol. Has to be.
It is dearer than a petrol. I'm a wee bit privy to the cost of it, but it's if you think
but the type of people that will buy it generally don't worry about the price.
No, but if you buy a bike, the biggest cost of buying a bike isn't actually buying it; it's putting fuel in it.
That's probably fair. Mm-hmm. I'm putting a lot of fuel in that one now, but that's my fault because I'm driving it instead like a pickup.
See at lambing time, for instance, I've got lots and lots and lots of customers that are going through 2 jerry cans of fuel a day.
Mm-hmm. That's a fair point.
40 odd quid a day for a bike. If you can take that down to 8 quid or 10 quid, even if it is 3 or 4 grand more expensive, it equates itself out over the lifetime of the bike or buggy or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it will be the be all and end all, but there's definitely a place for it.
One of my questions was going to be is like what you see to be the next big thing. Do you know coming? But maybe that. Do you think that is what it's going to be? Things being.
They've taken petrol as far as they can. The emissions levels in tier 6 and 7s and all these kind of things, and but performance wise, the electric thing will outperform a petrol power wise. But I know what Cammy's saying. They're taking electric. It's just because we don't know. People would be frightened. I can hear the rain outside now. And imagine going away behind you Cumnock or away behind Muirkirk the night in a buggy, 3 miles from the farm, and it stops going. But I suppose a petrol or a diesel could do that too. But you could carry out a can of petrol, put it in and drive home, whereas you can't
How'd you
really
get
do
the
it with
buggy
an
home,
electric.
Aye.
So,
Need to
but the
gen it up.
technology, but everything can break down. You know what I mean? Anything can break down. But I think the future will be, and I'm not just saying this, the future will be the Japanese and the American manufacturers will be looking at CF Moto and lots of other brands that are coming out of Asia at the moment going, oh my God. You know what I mean? This is.
Well, but I think we said
there's no, and then you'll have tractors, then you'll have cars.
I was going to say these tractors. If we talk about that, because interesting you say about that. CF Moto is the number one selling brand in the UK now for quad bikes, and petrol quad bikes and UTVs for the first time ever. That is, I think
Honda have
Honda.
been number one for 38 years. CF Moto have come into the market in 7 years and went from zero to market leader. Market leader in the world.
Everything went right for CF Moto, I will say that. like COVID, they had a massive stock of bikes.
Right.
Aye.
Honda didn't have a big stock of bikes,
Right,
so folk were needing to change their bikes. They
Right.
couldn't get a Honda.
Let's
try a CF Moto.
The tremendous thing
They
that
also
happened,
partnered up with the sheep game, so it's like...
that helped. But the thing about it is, it was a great step in for us to be able to get a Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, Can-Am customer all for one and get onto one of ours.
Because they couldn't replace theirs.
Then they actually go, oh, I wasn't planning to buy one of these, but I like this. How much is it? Whatever it was. Oh my God, that's cheap. Then we sold a lot of stuff through COVID, and we've built the business up since then again, but I bet you we've kept 90% of the customers that changed another brand for our brand.
Yeah.
And they just look at it now thinking they're... In another 2 or 3 years, CF Moto are still, even though they're number one in the UK, it's not a brand that people would... If you ask a farmer, name me 4 types of quad bikes, they would say Honda, always straight away, Yamaha, Suzuki, and Kawasaki or something like that. CF Moto, even though we're number one, even though we sold more...
It is getting there though.
I know.
Like at first, I would say, and I'm joking about obviously working with the sheep game, but a lot of folk be like, never heard of them. To be fair, same with Tapari. The amount of folk never heard of Tapari.
See the thing about it is, Cammy, though, I have sold quad bikes all my life. I know a wee bit about quad bikes. So we had Kawasaki, still got Kawasaki, then we took on Can-Am, and we sold a good few. There's no Can-Ams in Ayrshire. We sold a lot of Can-Ams, sold 170, 180 of them from a zero start to 2 years, which was doing decent numbers. A week after my father passed away, I got a letter from Can-Am to say they're terminating my contract. They were giving it to somebody else, which I thought was a wee bit rough. But anyway, I'm sitting going, "Oh my God, this is going to be hard." And I'd sold all the bikes to my customer. Most of my customers are pals of mine. I mean, I don't buy a lunch or a cup of coffee anyway. I get fed every way. So most of my customers are like pals of mine. So you just go in. So Can-Am did a tremendous thing. They sent all my customers letters to say that you will now work with A, B, and C with your Can-Am. And people wrote a letter back to say, no, we didn't even know what a Can-Am was before John sold us it. So we buy bikes for John. We don't care about it. I'm not choosing Can-Am. No, if it was Honda, Suzuki, it'd been exactly the same. We don't buy the brand for John. We buy the bike. We don't buy the thing because John sells it. We buy the bike because of John sells it. And I took nearly every single one of them back out. And now every single one of them is on a CF Moto. And folk would say, "Are you guaranteed me this bike will be good?" Yes. You got to change it after 2 years. You got to look after it's good. And it's just, it's not all about the brand. The brand's very good, but it's all a lot to do with who's selling the brand.
Oh, it is. But like I've said that before because I love working with CF Moto. They've been class to me. I mean, we have two buggies and a bike here now. We had 3 buggies at one point in there. You just took the old one away just last week. But they're absolutely spoiled. It's like been amazing. Absolutely. But if John phoned me next week and says CF Moto's pulled the rug and it's now Honda or Suzuki or whatever, I'd be like, right, okay, that's fine. That's what we're now. Because it's just whatever John's doing. For me it is. Like whatever bike John's selling.
That's what you...
But that goes back to, yes, known you, but like that goes back to me being like a wee boy. I used to do the gardens. John's dad, Tom, would sell me like lawnmowers and hedge cutters. It basically cost price. to get me started, and I had to be. I think it was a Kawasaki. Was it the hedge trimmers? Aye, Kawasaki hedge trimmer and all the best of gear. Like, right good stuff.
See, it's funny to me. I get this all the time, and folk will say, how did you fall in with the sheep game? How do you know Cammy? Is it just a recent thing? And I'm like, no, I've known each other over life. His father.
Well, you've known me all my life. I've known you all your life.
You know what I mean. But his father worked. His father drove our machines for.
I read Kawasaki mules.
So there's a way back to then. It's not like a new thing that we've just jumped together and
no,
it's not like a thing like that. But as I say, the loyalty that we have with customers. You know, you've had a lot of on this podcast. You've had
a lot of your customers on this podcast.
Billy,
actually,
John, Beachy, all good pals and customers of mine. Just to name but a few, but it's like they don't. It's the product. The product has to be good, but it wouldn't really matter.
No, but loyalty is a big thing.
It is in my life, and I'm loyal to my customers as well. Though, you know, if somebody phones me at whatever time of day, silly time of day, I'll go. Mm-hmm. You have to be. It works both ways. If they're going to give you a turn by buying a bike or whatever, you have to make sure that you look after them in the same time. Mm-hmm. Some times a year, it's relatively easy because everybody's working. But at lambing time, it is utter chaos. Yeah, managed chaos
all day.
And the weather we had this year at lambing wasn't bad. That 2 years ago, when we had that terrible spring, it was just like the bikes, the buggies, the trailers, everything was working so hard and in muck and it was.
But like my bike was at like full revs all day.
Aye, it was it's so much harder on the machines. It's harder on the man and the lady that's farming, but it's hard on the machines as well. So, and a spring like that I had this year makes it relatively a good. Mm-hmm. You know, not a good job, but nobody's
easy on the bikes because the grund's hard.
The
bike's not doing the guts bloody working. If you wash it stays clean. Whereas last year you didn't.
Well, this year you could go round about the field in your pickup.
Oh, exactly.
2 years ago you couldn't went about the field in a canoe. You know what I mean? So it was if somebody's bike or whatever broke down, you had to be there within the hour.
Because they need it as well. They need it there and then.
It's like somebody like your dad. It's like somebody like your dad there. Or these boys are, you know, I've got lots of customers like Billy there he's back hill's 4 mile away. Mm-hmm. There's no roads. You know, it's like how you possibly got to get 4 miles and it's up and down and field drains but the bike's like it's a complete lifeline for them. Absolutely. Without the bike, there's no way that job. That's why when you see like big places like that, 50 years ago there'd be 5 or 6 herds on there now. Now there's 1 or 2. Well, a llama and a
wee jockey.
No, but years ago because there had to be. But a bike now or a buggy can save you so much time going round about you can go
anywhere.
Yeah.
I've done nearly 1,400 mile on that bike in 6 weeks or something, 2 months. I don't know how long I've had it, but I'm in it all day every day.
I was talking to Lucy. I was up getting my car serviced earlier, and I was talking to Lucy.
This is Lucy from Garage.
And I says, she says, smashing, and she says, Cammy's done a few miles in my car.
I've actually done a lot of miles.
And I says, well, he's going to get less because he's one of my bloody buggies now. And he's going to do millions of miles in it. And he's telling me your buggy, the pickup is not going to do half the miles now because I've got this buggy I can run about. And she's like, that sounds great. And I'm like, no, it's not really. No.
I got in the bypass in that buggy.
Is that allowed?
Oh, the bypass is a 50 mile an hour speed limit. The buggy does 60. It's only motorways you're not allowed on.
Right.
But like, the buggy does 60 mile an hour. But honestly, I take the wrapper, I put my wrap on behind it, the dog sits in the back, away you go, you get to the field, you unhook the wrapper, you can drive in the field, set the wrap up, go get the sheep in with the buggy, do your job, hook it back up, on to the next job.
And I said,
it used to be you'd have to park at the side of the field, carry the wrappers into the field.
But see now the buggies are so like that you can, like they now look at the weather. We've got guys wanting these buggies and say a lot of people now have got 2 farms, 3 farms, maybe 3 or 4 miles apart. You know, a nice pickup or a Discovery or a Hilux or a Isuzu's 50 odd thousand, 60,000. But you could never, even with big tyres, you could never take one of these pickups into a field now. Whereas with buggy, I'll do 50 or 60 miles an hour. You can put the dogs in it, you can be covered in
Yeah.
You can put
Exactly.
you can literally put a DDI in the back if you want, and drive into the field, do your work, come out, back up, and your car doesn't have to go through that punishment.
I have still put 23,000 miles on that Isuzu in 7 months, so it's a good effort. Yeah, and that's it. We're doing very little last month or two. A question, John. I'm conscious about way over there. We're there. But how do you decide? Like, how can you still sell Kawasaki bikes if you're selling CF Moto? Like, how do you decide when a customer comes in and says, "I want a bike"?
It's quite.
Or are you just repeating the Kawasaki's to the same guys?
Yes, I'm loyal to Kawasaki. If somebody has a Kawasaki for me,
You give them a Kawasaki again.
yes.
Aye.
I'm not
That's fair.
Kawasaki. I built my business. My father built the business. We sold, and I don't mean thousands. I mean thousands and thousands of Kawasaki's.
Are you the only Kawasaki dealer in Ayrshire?
Aye.
Right.
Considerably more. We've sold on over the piece considerably more Kawasaki's than we've sold CF Motos at this moment, but that will change. But if somebody comes into me and they've got a Kawasaki, they're getting a Kawasaki.
Aye.
If somebody comes in with a CF or CF Moto, or they've got a Yamaha or whatever it is they have,
They get a CF.
it's the price. If I'll say, right, this is this and that. Oh, my neighbour's got a Kawasaki, gets on really well with, he'll get a Kawasaki. But our biggest thing is, I had to take CF Moto on because we had Kawasaki at 2, 3 or 4 years ago only had a 750 bike. They had no. See, when I started,
So the race bike was a 750.
When I started with a 250, a 300 two-wheel drive, a 300 four-wheel drive, a 400, a 650, and a 750. So we had the whole range for dairy farmers right up to big hill farmers. 2017, 18, they had a 650 and a 750. Done away with 650. So I only had a 750cc bike to sell. I only sell not that many 750 bikes a year. So I had to go out and get something that my 400 to 500cc
Is that
bike.
750 petrol?
Yeah.
But I suppose that's a beastie of a bike. The other good thing with Kawasaki is you'll be able to sell diesels. They'll have diesels.
They've got diesel, which I don't have in my CF Moto front.
And they're not going to do diesels, I don't think.
No. So it is a tiny overlap, but it's not that much an overlap.
Do most folk no bother about a diesel bike? There'll be some folk surely that just would buy
Sold
only diesels.
a couple this week, but it's a thing where it's people still like the cost efficiency of a diesel buggy.
Yeah.
But
The
a
tanks
diesel
there.
buggy is...
No, not the buggy. Well, buggies, of course. I'm forgetting the diesel buggies, of course. But quad bikes, the folk buy diesel quad bikes.
No, there's no manufacturer makes a diesel quad bike anymore.
You don't get a diesel quad bike anymore? So you don't get a Kawasaki diesel anymore?
No.
Why no?
No.
Just too big and heavy.
Emissions and all these things. Well, it was Arctic Cat actually made them, but we would sell, and my dad and myself would be, I think, the biggest dealer in Britain, I think, for these diesel bikes at one time. And rural farms, no petrol station, all the wee local petrol stations shutting down, diesel out the red tank was tremendous. So, but it was running efficiently. But now, I was going to say there, quite an interesting thing you're asking in the future. We're selling as many buggies as we are bikes now.
Are you really?
10 years ago, it would be 1 to 10. Be 1 buggy to 10 bikes. Now it'll not be 1 to 1, but it'll certainly be 1 to 2. Maybe even shorter than that.
2 buggies to 1 bike?
No, two bikes to one buggy, but I think it'll even be shorter than that. Like this week, I think I've sold, it'll be mostly, but this weather,
that inspires people to get buggies. Your dad got a buggy, didn't he, after the last bad lambing?
Well, he's got a buggy, and now somebody else has got a buggy very close to you. Just because they're no...
Because he made so much money for his top lambs. Not your dad, the person.
No, they got a bit of ground along the road. And they were scudding along the road in the bike. In this weather, they were soaking to the skin before they got to their box are working.
I honestly
so they said, give us a shot of a buggy, gave me a shot of a buggy. Obviously, maybe had a wee shot of your dad's. And went, no, we'll just have to have one of these. The bike's still there. The bike still goes to the hill. The bike still
got
does
a place. See, if you're going really far away, or like we've got a quad bike that we got for you.
Yeah.
That quad bike we've got for you could be 5-6 year old CF Moto, but bloody it still goes great. We stick it in a wee trailer and we go far away from home.
If you're going away up onto a hill roundup, a bike still...
Yeah, Dad still uses the buggy's more for the grandkids and that. Like even at lambing and stuff, he prefers the bike.
If you're putting
Keep
if you've got in buy stuff and you've got a snacker, or you're putting a lot of pails out and blocks out, and you just want to go up on the mostly even your dad's bit will have old tracks or old railway lines that people use. So you just drive with the buggy along there and put all your blocks and stuff out. But you're not going to get into the most and onto that with a buggy.
No.
If you get it stuck, you've got big problems.
Or roll it.
So
Like.
the bike still, I say to people, if you've got a bike and you want a buggy, keep your bike and I'll sell you a buggy.
Yeah.
And they'll say, but you're just not wanting to. I'm like, well, I'll take your bike. I'll gladly take your bikes to trade in, but I'll guarantee you in 6 months' time you'll be back here buying a bike from me again.
Yeah, they're different job, different
Totally,
roles.
totally.
Yeah.
If you're doing a big cap-in, you need, if you're going to a hill or cap-in bullocks or anything like that at all, saying that, buggies are getting faster, but they're still no nearly as nimble as what a bike is.
Aye. And you can see, one thing I will say about the bike, like on a nice warm day, you take the bike out, you see so much more.
If you got
Like, you'll
one,
never beat the visibility. Like your dad will like it at lambing
That's
time
what
because
you
you see everything.
everything.
Like the buggy, you basically just see what's in front
It's like
of
you
you.
feel too far away from the sheep in the buggy as well.
Yeah, there's probably a wee bit. You're probably lower down actually in the buggy, or you certainly you can't stand up. Like in the bike,
Yeah,
you're like
you can up and
look and you look behind you and you're working the dug and everything.
Yeah.
I do get that merit.
but
Absolutely.
there's so many times, let's say today, for instance, typical tips. Well, tips are just about coming in now. But why would you want to sit in a quad bike and get, like, even if you've got all your good clothes on, you're still going to get soaking today. If you're just going to look at yows to see what's tipped, see what's no tipped, or kilo
Yeah,
tipped,
definitely.
you'll take the buggy because you'll take the buggy. There's no way you're going to sit in a bike like a day like today.
Yeah.
But again, in a lovely night or a spring day,
Yeah.
the bike comes into. If you can go way up onto the hill,
But,
it's a great
but
thing.
you say that one big difference I noticed, because occasionally take the bike a wee spin if it's a nice, but see the amount of fleas you've got to eat. You don't realise how many flies there are
Aye,
until
that's
you're
so true.
you're going 30, 40 mile an hour on a quad bike and they're in your bloody eyes. That was actually the biggest thing about wearing a helmet. I didn't wear the helmet. Obviously, I wore it for safety, but my first thought was the safety. My first thought was the visor's great
That's
because
what
it keeps the
Yeah,
flies
get
in the
rid of
eyes.
I tell folk that all the time. For health and safety, you should wear a helmet. In the winter, it keeps your lugs warm. In the summer, it stops the flies getting in your face. It's
100%.
it's a safety thing, but it's a you keep your lugs warm and keeps the midges out your face.
But John, I've got my that's an hour and 15 minutes we're at now. I mean, obviously, CF Moto's absolutely flying, as you've said there. Good local business, which farmers absolutely love. We should give a shout out to Billy as well.
My Billy, yeah,
He's the main man.
Billy in the workshop. Billy turned 60 last Tuesday.
Oh, happy birthday, Billy.
It started was in 1982.
My brain can't quite do the maths, but that's
43.
43 years.
43 years we've been with us.
So basically, his whole career then, 17.
Never been anywhere
apprenticeship and
Oh,
right
I
through.
love that.
He left the school on a Friday, started with us on Monday. And his dad and him come along and asked my dad if he could get a job. And Dad says, aye, fine, start. And Billy started. And he's been an absolute... Couldn't function without Billy. He knows his customers as well as I do. I don't need to say to him, like I say, go and see blah, blah, blah. You don't need to tell him where to go. Folk all ken him. He's the exact opposite for me. He'll go in and be pleasant to folk, more than pleasant, but he's no a chatty guy. He'll just go in and do his work.
Do his job, yeah.
Be more than pleasant to folk. Maybe a wee news with him, then away.
Aye.
Without Billy, the business would be
But that's like, what are you going to do? So he's, what age are you?
52.
Just a boy, really, yeah. So what, 7
In
years?
the future,
Has he got 7 years to go? What are you going to do when he's...
in the next wee while, I was thinking about saying this or not. In the next wee while, I would actually consider. I don't mean an apprentice. I would like not in a partnership, but I don't have a family, and Fiona don't have a family. You see, so it would be really handy for me for somebody to come to our business in the future, progress into like their business, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be a great
Yeah,
opportunity.
you're thinking
Clear
about the
the
future
road.
now.
A great
for-
opportunity,
Yeah.
but a great opportunity for a young man or a girl to come up, work with us, and it would start as an employee, but always with the thing. Like, I don't plan to do this for next 30 years. You know what I mean? I would love for a young, even though I'm not old, I would love for a younger person now to come in, cut their teeth doing what we're doing now, then in 4 or 5 years' time, slowly start moving in and really running the business.
And do like something like what Tom Blackwood did, like an employee buyout type thing. And,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The business will always be, we've got decent premises, we've got bought premises, we don't have any debt, there's no, like, we're renting premises, so it's a burden to anybody else. We're a relatively strong company. It would be even though we're only small, but it was shift a hell of a stuff.
But there's a strength in that too, because there's no big overheads.
Exactly.
You've got a guy that you can trust that's been there for
But
40 odd years.
I would
the amount of dealers that would kill for a man like Billy that's just been there as long, kens it inside out, turns up all the time.
Reliable.
And I was saying this to somebody the other day. I can count in one hand how many sick days Billy said off in 44 years.
Aye.
Literally.
Aye.
There's a couple of days he worked with my dad one day, 20 years ago, and he was popping a bit of fencing, and the fencing fell, and it actually went into Billy's arm and out the other side. A terrible wound. So my dad took him into the hospital, and so they come back from the hospital, and my dad says, right, well, better drop. I said, I'll just go back. My dad's like, what are you talking about, just go back? You've got a hole in your arm. Next morning, Billy turns up at his work. My dad's like, you away him? There's no way you can come in. The other 2 years ago, we were working, and he was working at a lawnmower, funnily enough. And if you ever notice, Billy's fingers are all the same length now. He accidentally chopped the top of his finger off with a lawnmower. He went to hospital, got it all dressed up, never missed it. It was straight back in the next morning. Never missed.
But and Billy's not for farming?
No, he stays in Gatehead. His mum and dad stayed in Gatehead looking onto the, just at Gatehead, just there looking onto the river. Right?
Aye, but he's not from farming?
No, his dad was a, his dad works for...
That's pretty rare. Like, not that I'm saying folk for farming aren't hardy, but...
No.
But yeah, a wee bit.
Billy will be as hard as...
a wee bit, you're right, I'm saying that.
But Billy comes
Folk
from
not for farming love a sick day.
But Billy will come with a generation where it was like that. But I would never have to encourage Billy or whatever. I've never had a crossword. It's just
You must have had a crossword at some point.
No.
You must have said, for F's sake, John.
No. Oh, well,
like, I don't imagine Billy would annoy you, but I'd
maybe,
imagine you'd annoy Billy.
That's what I was saying. Maybe Billy will get more uptight with me and I could get up with Billy. But it's a thing where it's just a relationship that's worked well. Don't get me wrong. There's been times that we could really do with 5 or 10 Billies, but then at certain times of the year, you're thinking, you know, if I had loads of employees, there's some dealerships out there with millions of employees, or no millions, but dozens of employees, and you're just, for me, I'm wondering how I'm not that bad at what I do. I'm wondering how they're servicing, how do they find work for all these people? Well, there's great times of the year that lambing time, you need plenty of I could do with, I wouldn't run out of work for 10 people. But there's times like the now, from now to after Christmas, that there's no really that much. In the middle of summertime, you know, with that good weather, there's not really that much. I know, but there's always work, but there's not that much going on.
Yeah, that's good. But no, that's that's interesting. Hey, you never know, might be somebody listening thinks maybe a wee opportunity there.
Well, it's just an idea I had, and it's just because
Let's find the right person.
the right person, and it would be because I had the opportunity to cause my father, but to get where I am now is, I'm not saying it's impossible. Financial aspects of it are huge. The getting property and getting buildings and everything's huge. All the franchises, all the good quad bikes and things are taken. You know, you're not going to get.
You can't just start up yourself.
No, you can't just start tomorrow and say, right, I'm going to sell Honda, Suzuki's, and Yamahas.
Aye.
You know, they're all tied up. You know what I mean? The biggest thing that people have is like their actual franchises they have at the moment.
But obviously, you're saying about the Can-Am one there dumping you. But like CF Moto, like how would you lose a franchise? Like what if you're not selling enough, basically?
Not selling enough, or you get an aggressive dealer that's no far away that would want to take it off you. You know what I mean?
And they press the CF Moto and
they would do. But I would say CF Moto are a completely. CF Moto is still CF Moto UK. Quadzilla UK is still a family-owned business.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's not a big multinational thing. I can phone them now. Phone Harry and he'll answer the phone. Phone Jasmine.
They're good. They're
phone
good
Chris.
They're really good folk.
Last year they were put up for Employer of the Year as a business. Farming magazine, Farming Guardian put up for
farmers.
They're just you phone them and they're just almost. They're much bigger than a family business now, but. You can still. I could phone. Harry was out to China with us, sitting, and if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know he's.
Just one of the boys.
He's the. He's man. He's last year 2,900 units. That's a huge business, but he just sits. Sit and talk. Just you would never know. Whereas I've in my past, it's not nice to say, but I don't really mind. I've met area managers that are just complete You know, they work for a certain company, and they're like, you know, and you're like, you're a rep, mate. I mean, it's like, why are you talking to people like that? I don't mean reps, but I've got hundreds of reps that come at me and are absolutely tremendous people. But you get some people that are just a wee bit, whereas that chap there,
laid back,
and
they're loyal. You think they have a bit of loyalty there, and
well, see, to be fair, he's one of the ones, and CF Moto are one of the ones that says without their dealers or nothing. You know, without dealers, CF Moto have been put on the board because of their product, but without the dealer network, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? So CF Moto are grateful that they've got a good dealer network, but in turn, you still have to sell units. You know what I mean? We're selling.
Aye.
You
need to still work for
if you don't hit your target, you know, if you don't hit your target, George has got to come in and say,
we're looking at you.
do you? I know that we've had a problem with hitting the targets quite comfortably, but if you were a dealer not hitting your targets and the product's doing so well everywhere else, you're going to have a wee problem in your hands.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully this chat can help with that situation. Not that, you, as I say, you're not desperate, but it's always good an extra sailor too. And now folk know a bit more about you too, because a lot of folk will know about John, you know, Tom Murray engineering, and they'll know you through the videos and stuff, but actually to hear a bit about you. Is there anything else you want to add, John, before we finish? You're quite happy there?
No, I'd just like to say...
You'll go away and think, oh, I should have said that.
I would just like to say I speak to a lot of people that watch our podcasts and watch our YouTube things, and I think that what you do is a tremendous thing as well. It's
not many people say that, actually. That's great.
See, the farming community, it's a lovely social. You almost feel like a wee social when you come in at night. The things that Cammy was doing that lambing time last year before, it was emotional watching it some nights to see how hard it was. And I wasn't going through it. I was going through it with bikes, no like dead stock and everything. But I was going to places, and folk were saying to me, they were watching Cammy's videos and saying, "Thank God, I thought it was only me."
Yeah.
And it was a tremendous thing. So I think what you do in a wee social side of it, jokey, laughy, instead of, right, this is farming and you need to do this and you need to do that. It's not like people just want to switch off and watch a bit of nonsense in it. I don't mean just talk nonsense.
No, we do.
It's thingy, but it's a wee bit, and I think what you do for the farming side of it is really good, and folk will look forward to watching your videos and whatever night it comes out.
Well, you're an absolute gentleman, John. And speaking of jokey and laughy, I did chuckle inwardly to myself. I didn't want to interrupt your flow, but when you mentioned, and people that know you well will laugh at this one too, but when you mentioned that you drop off the bike and have a wee blather for half an hour, I thought, John's never had a blather for half an hour in his life. But, on that note, John, an absolute pleasure. Thank you, mate. And
Thank you.
Well, I'll probably see you tomorrow. And we're back. Thank you to John for that and coming in. It's just, well, I'll be honest, I see John at least once a week. Speak to him about twice a week. See him all the time. He's a great guy. Yes. Can he do enough for you? Yeah. Like, honestly, absolute gentleman. And very happy to promote Thomas Murray Agriculture Engineers and CF Moto through John and all that comes with that. Fantastic as well. They've been great too. So thanks to John for coming in and speaking to us. We will have no Friday chat this week forward because it's into Christmas and, well, you're taking some well-deserved time off.
So are you?
Yeah, we're going to Devon for a couple of days. So, yeah, no Friday chat.
We'll be back, though.
We'll be back. All right, Arnold Schwarzenegger there, calm down. Thanks again to John. Thanks to our sponsors, Herdwatch and Crystalyx. I've been Cammy.
I've been Iona.
And we're all fed by farmers.